UK negotiator Lord Frost and his EU counterpart Michel Barnier will return back to the negotiating table today in a final push to see if they can break the stalemate on trade negotiations. The talks are scheduled to resume in Brussels after Mr. Barnier has briefed a breakfast meeting of ambassadors from the 27 EU member states on the state of play. EU negotiators are reported to be insisting on a ratchet clause under which the UK would face additional tariffs if it failed to mirror changes to EU rules on issues like environmental standards and workers' rights. Barnier breaks silence to declare no trade deal as Frost refuses to back down on fishing. Express readers were asked between 7:56 am and 11:18 pm today whether they would support an extension to transition period in order to secure a deal. Out of the 27,398 people who voted, a staggering 25,357 people, 93%, said no. Only 1,918 people, 7%, voted yes. And 123 people, 0%, said they were unsure. Readers also shared their views on why the UK should stick to its original deadline. We will use your email address only for sending you newsletters. Please see our privacy notice for details of your data protection rights. One person said, no more extensions. We've had enough already. Walk away now with no deal. How many extensions has the EU and they're still no better off? Another person claimed the EU was saying it did not want the UK to leave do not agreeing a deal. They added, the EU had 4 years to secure a deal that won't ever happen. They don't want a deal and they don't want us to leave. A third person said, choose no deal. And a fourth simply added, Boris, you sell the UK out, you are toast. The UK denied reports from Brussels on Sunday that there had been a breakthrough on the issue of future fishing rights. Reports suggested they had agreed to a transition period for phasing in changes for access for EU boats to UK waters of between 5 and 7 years. However, a UK government source said, there's been no breakthrough on fish. Nothing new has been achieved on this today. Mr. Johnson and Ms von der Leyen will speak again on Monday evening, which will be their second call in just over 48 hours. Irish Prime Minister Michael Martin warned that talks remained on a knife edge. He said there appeared to be a very challenging issue still to be resolved over the level playing field rules on fair competition. He told RTE, my gut instinct is that it is 50-50 right now. Things are on a knife edge and it is serious. I don't think one can be overly optimistic about a resolution emerging. Environment Secretary George Eustace also said the UK could not accept any conditions which fundamentally violates our sovereignty. He said, where it becomes difficult is where the EU starts to say things like, unless you clear your agreement and regulations with us before, we reserve the right to pull certain parts of the agreement and to undermine what's been agreed. Following their earlier call on Saturday, Mr. Johnson and Mrs. von der Leyen acknowledged that there were still serious differences to be resolved on fisheries and the mechanism for resolving disputes as well as competition rules.